On today's episode, I wanted to make a public service announcement. You don't know what this is
I
about, do
don't
you?
know what this is about. I'm gonna be surprised, am I?
Yeah. I want to talk about depression.
Okay,
Is that cool?
sure.
Some context. I think there's a lot of depression floating around right now.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt it.
I think that there are a lot of people struggling with depression without even realizing it.
I mean, just speaking from personal experience, I didn't realize that I was dealing with it until I did. And that was a hard realization. The long story is that I suffered from postpartum depression after giving birth to Aurora. So, about 4 months after Aurora was born, I was really struggling to get out of bed. Doing the dishes or making the bed or getting dressed or taking a shower, it just felt like insurmountable mountains to climb. I felt like I had a fog just like around my head. Even the most simplest of decisions felt like life altering decisions. And I didn't realize that I had gotten into such a deep, dark place. After Aurora was born, I feel like I was on the adrenaline of being a new mom and I was on maternity leave. So I wasn't at work either. So I had a lot of support from you. I had a lot of support from both of our families. Like our moms would come over and let us take naps. I just felt super supported in those first 3 months after giving birth to her. And so it came on gradually. I think the thing about depression is it's not like it like slaps you in the face. Sometimes it just creeps in ever so sneakily. And that's what it did to me. I think it was not just postpartum going on, but I also was working as a nurse in a hospital during COVID. And the stress of that and the burnout from that was also really, really difficult. So I think the depression was a combination of hormonal and situational. And it wasn't until I remember you sat me down one day in Aurora's nursery and you just expressed very lovingly how concerned you were for me and that you missed me and that you felt sad for what I was going through. And that motivated me to call my doctor and get on medication, which is something that I had never allowed myself to do before. I always thought I could be strong enough to do those things without medication. And it got to the point where I needed that extra help. And it made a night and a day difference for me. So I went on the medication. It was just so helpful. Fast forward to September, we moved here to Costa Rica and my prescription ran out. And my thought process was, well, I've been on it for long enough. Aurora's already a year old. I probably don't need it anymore. So I thought, oh, I'll just wean myself off of it, essentially going cold turkey off of it because I'd run out. And I didn't talk to you about it because I didn't think it was a big deal at all. I didn't think stopping my medication was going to make any difference. And gradually, months passed, and I think I sunk deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into this hole. And here I am in this tropical paradise with the sun and the beach and the ocean and you and Aurora growing and just being an absolute adorable human. And I just felt so sad. Again, that same feeling of not wanting to get out of bed and just getting out of bed was a chore. And I would just wear the clothes that I slept in all day because changing my clothes or taking a shower, heaven forbid, was just like too much. I would spend a disgusting amount of time on my phone. The screen time reports that I would get at the end of the week were just awful. And again, I didn't realize that what I was experiencing was depression. I did not realize it at all. I thought that I was just being a lousy human, a lazy person who couldn't do the dishes and watched her husband do the dishes over and over and over and over every single night while I was the one piling them up in the sink. And again, it was a situation where I knew the things I could do that would help me. I knew that if I started like a meditation practice or if I ate healthy, or if I got a decent amount of sleep, or if I started exercising, I knew that those things would help me, but I had zero motivation to do any of that. Like I said, even changing my clothes or taking a shower felt impossible. So doing the things that were actually good for me were out of the question. And then we had made a previous agreement that we would start talking about starting to have another child at the beginning of the year. And so December 31st rolls around, it's New Year's Eve, and we go for a walk on the beach, and I bring up the conversation with you. You essentially said that you didn't feel like we were ready because of my mental state. And I did not like that. I don't remember ever being as mad at you ever in our entire marriage.
To be clear, what Angela heard and what I was trying to say, or maybe what I said and what I was trying to say, were very different.
So, what I heard from Nate, again, I feel like depression is the great liar. I think depression is the voice inside my head that skews my reality to be something that it isn't. And what you were saying was actually valid and it was in my best interest. And what I heard you saying is Angelyn is a failure as a mother. I don't trust Angelyn to be a mother of another one of my children. She did so horrible with Aurora. Why would I bring another child into the world to have her as a mother? You know? And it was devastating to me. It was absolutely devastating to me.
What I was trying to say was, Angela,
You've been through a lot this year.
you've been through a lot. You're carrying a heavy burden, and I love you, and it's hard for me to see you suffer. And before we add the stress of another child onto your shoulders, onto
Another
our shoulders,
pregnancy.
and another pregnancy, why don't we see if we can get you into a little bit of a better place and, maybe like feel good getting out of bed again and just being more active, taking care of yourself. And if we can lift up some of that burden and get you feeling better, then let's add this extra child into our life when we're a little more prepared. But that's not what she heard.
Well, and I feel like now on the outside looking in to the situation, now I can see that you were expressing empathy for all of the hard things that I went through. But in the moment, I thought you were blaming me for all of the hard things that I went through. And I remember telling you to get out of my face. I remember just like sobbing, just absolutely sobbing uncontrollably. And it took a while. It took a while. It took a few days, I think, before I even wanted to look at you. But once I was able to calm down a little bit, I started being able to hear what you were saying in the correct context and realize that you were wanting to help me, not make me angry. And you sent me an article that was written by the wife of one of your friends. And it was explaining exactly my experience. And not only that, but something that she mentioned hit me hard in that she realized that she had been experiencing depression for a lot longer than she had admitted to herself. It's not just postpartum, it goes clear back to my teen years when I started puberty. So I have been experiencing it for a long, long time. So we got me some help again. We found me a prescriber who was so kind and helpful and allowed to ease my worries over taking medication during pregnancy and things like that. We're not pregnant, but got back on my medication. And I've got it right here. This is actually, I feel like, saved me because it kicked in so fast. I noticed a difference within days. And the thing about the meds for me is that all those things that I know will help my mental health, the exercising, the eating well, the getting enough sleep, things like that, I actually have the motivation to do them when I'm on the medication. I clean the entire house. I keep things tidy, which is also so important for my mental health to have a clean environment. Yeah, so now I'm in a very, very good place. A very good place. I still have bad days. I'm starting to realize that coincide with my cycle. I'm thinking it might just be something that is goes with my cycle because that's what my mom had and it could be hereditary, called PMDD, premenstrual disorder. That's one that coincides with the hormonal cycle of your menstruation. And so I noticed I've tracked my periods. I hope this isn't too much information, but I've tracked my periods now for almost 10 years in this app. So I have a lot of data to the point where it is super accurate for me. And so I noticed this month I had 2 really bad days where I felt like I was almost back to where I was before, and when I looked at my app, I was just a day or 2 past ovulation. So I had a huge hormonal shift again, but I was able to get out of it within a day or 2 instead of months and months and months. So I feel hopeful, I feel happy, I feel calm, I feel at peace. I feel like our relationship is much more in harmony. I feel like I don't misinterpret your words. I don't snap at you as much. I don't think you're out to get me as much. And honestly, I think if I could go back to myself, clear back when I was younger, if there's anything I could say to myself, the first thing I would do is give me just a big hug and just say it's okay to ask for help. And it's okay if that help means medication. I used to think that if I got on medication, that meant I was a failure. But it's saved me, you know? There's no shame in that. It's not a failure, it's a success. If I had heart disease or diabetes or high blood pressure, I wouldn't consider it a failure to take a medication, you know? So, what's the difference when it's a physical illness that manifests through mental and emotional health? Because it is my physical hormones, the physical chemicals in my brain that are affecting my mental state.
So, if you are wondering, do I maybe have depression? I just wanted to go through some of the symptoms. Some symptoms that you can have when you have depression are trouble concentrating or remembering details and making decisions, fatigue, feelings of guilt, worthlessness, and helplessness, pessimism and hopelessness, insomnia or early morning wakefulness or sleeping too much, crankiness or irritability, restlessness, lots of interest in things. Oh, loss of interest in things that were once pleasurable, including sex, aches, pains, headaches, or cramps that will not go away, digestive problems that don't get better even with treatment, persistent, sad, anxious, or empty feelings, or suicidal thoughts or suicidal attempts. So,
One
yeah,
intrusive.
intrusive thoughts. What are intrusive thoughts?
For me, an intrusive thought is like something that will enter my brain that I ruminate on and I can't get it out of my brain. It's like the waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to go back to sleep because you're thinking about the 50 ways that you could die. Or, something that's not happened yet or isn't likely to ever happen, but you just can't get it out of your brain.
So, if you heard any of those symptoms and you're like, yeah, I'm experiencing that, here are some interesting questions you can ask yourself to maybe help yourself gain a little bit of clarity. When did your symptoms start? Like, when did you start feeling this way? Was it recently, within the last couple of days, or has it been months or even years that you've been feeling this way? You learn a lot from asking that one question. How long have they lasted? Are they, like Angela said, did they come maybe with your menstrual cycle? Is it something that comes up for you when you experience specific work stresses or life stresses, or is it really persistent? Yeah, it could be seasonal. Like maybe you get depressed in wintertime. That's something that I struggle with. How severe are these feelings? Like, are they manageable or are they crippling and make it so you can't get out of bed in the morning? Does it run in your family? That's a great question to ask because this type of thing is genetic. So those are some questions that you could think about. And some things I want you to consider is, first of all, it's normal to experience things like depression when you're in a marriage that maybe is going through a rocky patch, when you're experiencing challenges with your children, if you're having health issues, if you're going through a pandemic. There's so many challenges that people are facing right now that can trigger a bout of depression. And so I just want you to know there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. This is just a symptom of being human for a lot of people. So don't judge yourself. And something really helpful that you can do is get in touch with a doctor or a prescriber or a therapist who can help you out. We'll provide a link to some resources down below. So if this story is relating with you, hopefully you can go check out those resources and see if you can get yourself a little bit of help. And something that really I think has helped us is being able to talk about it without judgment. When I realized Angela was struggling with depression, it made a lot of things really clear for me. It helped me have a lot more patience for her, shed a lot of understanding and light on some of the conflicts and struggles that we'd been facing and why I felt like I had lost my wife. And it also gave me a lot of empathy and desire to want to encourage her to get better. And and so I'm grateful that she shared that with me. And I don't know, how did it feel to you to actually be able to be open and honest about it with me?
I think one thing that keeps people in the depression cycle is shame. And being able to talk about something and bring it into the light is one of the number one things to get rid of shame. So the first thing that did for me was it helped me get rid of the shame. And then it also helped me to realize that this wasn't just because I was a lazy person. It wasn't just because I was a horrible person. It was because there was something wrong that I needed help with. So it gave me hope. It helped me feel hopeful. Like this wasn't going to be forever.
So, if you are feeling exhausted, sad, withdrawn from your partner, if you're feeling less productive, less energetic, having a hard time getting out of bed, having a hard time doing the things that you know you need to do to take care of yourself, it's possible that you might be dealing with depression,
Mhm.
and it's okay.
Yep.
And you're okay, and you can get help.
And feel free to reach out if you just need someone who can empathize.
You're really good at that.
I'm always here for that. Also, if maybe you're not experiencing these things, but they sound familiar and someone that you love, share this with them so that they can get some hope too.
I'm going to provide a bunch of resources and a link to the article you mentioned and other stuff down in the description. So if you want more resources on what we talked about today, feel free to go down there. And I hope if you enjoyed this conversation that maybe we earned your subscription today. Thanks for sharing your story.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you too.
Bye, guys.
Bye.